What's up, guys? Back out here with the SRT-4 again today. Today I'm actually going to be trying to troubleshoot a window regulator or window motor.
My name is Zach Ellis and welcome to my journey. I don't know where I'm going or how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to be tearing shit up every step of the way. Along with a few friends, of course. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll be building, modifying, repairing, fabricating, and racing every chance I get. But if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and of course, enjoy the video.
When I first got the car, the passenger window was stuck up. I could not get it to go down. I tried replacing both switches, the door switches for the window. The right switch was bad, I believe, but I replaced both of them. Still no window movement, so I went ahead and I didn't really troubleshoot. I just went ahead and swapped the complete window regulator assembly completely. It was like 120 bucks. I figured why not. Swapped it. The window worked again. It was just very sluggish. So the new motor lasted for, I don't know, it was like 4 months or something. There is a warranty on it though. It's a lifetime warranty for that motor. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the panel off today, and I'm actually gonna troubleshoot to see what is the issue. I'm assuming again that it's gonna be a bad ground, mainly because that would be a symptom of a ground that's failing. Maybe not bad, but not as good of a ground as it could be. So go in there, I'm going to shoot some wires, see if I can pinpoint exactly where the broken wire is, and then I will remove the assembly and run over to, I think I got it at Advanced Auto, and pick up a new one. So removal of the door panel on the SRT-4 is super straightforward. It's a Phillips head here, a Phillips head inside the door handle, and then there's a Phillips head behind the actual door switch or door lever itself. Once you remove those Phillips head screws, it just clips all the way around the border. Pop all those clips off, and then you're going to pick the door straight up and then out. Once you get the door pulled out, you've got to disconnect the door lever, the switch, the electrical connection for all the switches. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that out. Alright, cool. So got the door handle removed. Again, it's the two levers for your door handle itself, the connector for your window switch, and then the connector for your locks. So now that the door panel's off, you're going to want to peel back this plastic. It's just a membrane to help prevent moisture from getting into the vehicle. It's got like this double-sided adhesive on there. Typically, you pull it off, that stuff will still stick to the plastic. If it doesn't, you'll have to use tape or something to re-adhere it to the door panel. Not a big deal. It's out of sight. You can't really see it, and you really just want that plastic there. You don't want it to be falling off. Alright, so in the interest of making this a little easier, I went ahead and removed the actual switch from the door panel and connected it to the connector here. So to help me find where the issue is with this, I have my multimeter here. Basically what the multimeter is used is to find out if you have a broken wire, how much voltage is going somewhere, or to troubleshoot a switch or a motor like we're doing now. So I found that the solid brown wire, I think it's brown. Here, I'll bring you in closer. I found that the solid brown wire here is the constant 12 volt, and then well, I guess this is tan. The tan wire is your constant 12 volt. The solid brown is your up motion. So when you click the switch to go window up, the brown sends a signal there. When you click the switch for the window to go down, it's the solid purple. So you see right now, the meter's showing millivoltage. Millivoltage isn't enough to do anything for anything. So I'm going to go ahead, probe into the constant 12 volt, and you'll see that thing jump up to 12 and some change. So 12.2 volts is what's being delivered to the switch from the car. Next one, no voltage. Once I click up to put the window up in the closed position, you get 12.2 volts. I let go, the voltage goes away. Then I go to the solid purple wire, I click down, and you get 12.2 volts. So that's just showing us that our switch is in good working condition and the proper amount of voltage is making it to the switch. And to ease in this process of testing from the switch to the motor, I'm going to go ahead and remove the complete assembly for the window regulator and motor. First thing you're going to do, you see here I have tape on the window. Basically, you put the tape on the window, tape it up to the top of the door frame. This is going to be to keep your window in the up position. If you don't do this, when you undo this bolt and this bolt in here, which actually bolts to the window, the window will just want to fall down. So we tape it up. I'll release those and make sure that it doesn't collapse. As long as it doesn't collapse, we'll pull the whole motor assembly out and we'll start testing those wires from the switch to the motor. So to get the motor out, like I said, it's going to be two 8mm that bolt the window to the track, and then it's three 10mm, two 10mm bolts and one 10mm nut, and that's going to remove the complete assembly on the internal side. So we'll start by loosening up the three 10mm just to where they're finger tight, and then we'll remove the two bolts holding the window itself. Okay, once you have the three 10mm bolts and the two 8mm bolts, the window and the track assembly are now disconnected from the door. There's three more 10mm nuts that's going to hold the actual motor assembly. I'll remove those three, and then the whole assembly will be loose in the door, and we'll start fishing it out through the bottom hole. Alright, so we got the motor assembly disconnected and just kind of dangling down here. The reason for this is getting this connector off all the way up in there it's like impossible. It's not impossible, but it just sucks really bad. So got it disconnected, and so here's the connector that's in the door. So your switch goes inside to a junction to the speaker and to the switch, which connects to this, which this end travels through to this end, which connects to the motor. So we're going to ohm out this wire to make sure it's all good, and then we'll ohm out from that connection inside the door back out to the switch. Alright, so I ohmed out this connection as well. Again, this is the one that goes from the junction inside the door to the actual lift motor itself. So we've confirmed that this is good. I'm going to connect this back into the door and redo the voltage from here all the way to the actual motor itself and see if there's any voltage drop across that range. Alright, so from the switch, or at the switch, so from the car to the switch, we're getting 12.2 volts. It's a constant, a lower, and a raise voltage. It's all 12.2. At the connector that plugs into the motor itself, we're getting 12.11 for up and for down, which tells us that there's no voltage issue. So we checked the voltage from the switch to the actual motor itself. It went from 12.2 to 12.1, so not a drop that's concerning at all. That's pretty typical. So I went ahead, I disconnected the motor from the regulator just so I could look at the motor and see if there's any issues with it. I ended up removing this cover on the actual motor itself where the brushes are, and I found corrosion inside there. So it just seems like corrosion got inside the motor and was making it work harder than it needed to, which ultimately led to the motor burning itself out. I guess moisture is getting in through the window because the weather seals are shot on the outside. So the only thing that I can think to do is maybe seal up the new motor a little bit better with some sort of sealant, caulk, or not caulk, but RTV, something like that. So for now, I think I've determined what the issue is. It's just the moisture. I'm going to go ahead and leave the regulator in the car right now, just so the window is supported. I don't want that thing to fall. I have to remove it probably tomorrow or the next day, and I'll go pick up the new one. I have got the new complete regulator motor assembly for the passenger window. I tried to get just the motor, but the motor was more expensive than buying the complete assembly, which sucks because now I've got to remove the whole assembly. Not really that hard to do, just didn't really feel like messing with it. So we're gonna go ahead. Motor's already been disconnected, like I said. Everything's unbolted. I just have to get it out of here. So I'm gonna start by trying to drop the actual, the portion of it that the window connects to. Try to drop that so I can get this bolt removed, and we'll drop it out of there. There it is. So this is the assembly. The window sits right inside this little clipped area here, and then it, if I can get it to slide, goes up and down, which she's a little tight. Yeah, not a whole lot to it. The tricky part is 100% getting this out of the door. So it sits in there like this, and you can tell the previous owner of this car cut this little lug off at some point for whatever reason. The way I do it, I think it's the easiest. If you can push it in so that the threads are inside the door panel, I slide it straight across because the bottom portion of the window is a V. So once you get this past the edge of the V, there's a ton of room to wiggle. So you're just basically sliding it straight across until it gets past about this portion of the door. It'll break free and then you just pull it right out. It's pretty simple. I would say don't make it more complicated than it needs to be because it's not a hard job. But we got it all out. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the new one in, and I'm gonna button this door up. Alright, cool. So we've got the complete regulator assembly installed, motors bolted down, motors plugged in. Next step and final step really to getting it installed is turn the key forward one so I have power here. I'm going to run the window up because right now the track assembly that mounts to the window is in the middle portion of the window track. We need to get it up to the top where the actual window is. So we'll run this up, bolt the window in. We'll test its operation. As long as it works good, this project will be done. I'll throw the door panel back on and we'll move on. Alright, don't forget to connect all the connectors before you try working on anything. Alright, now we've got all the connectors plugged in. I'm going to start the car back up and see if it works now. Alright, we've got the motor all hooked up. We're just going to run that track up, bolt the window up, and we'll finish this job up. Here, I'll bring you guys in so you can kind of see what I'm seeing. So inside here, you can see the white track. You're just gonna run it up till the holes line up. Cool, now that the holes line up, we'll go ahead and throw the hardware in there, and that's how you install a regulator. Cool, there it is.
appreciate you guys sticking around. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.